Hello and welcome to the Kate and Eric Show podcast, weekly show podcast. Um, as you might guess, and if you've listened to or watched any of my other social media posts, today was going to be about Christopher Columbus, but in light of what has happened over in Israel, that is going to be the topic of today, and maybe we'll get to Christopher Columbus another day. But just to start off the bat, a little housekeeping here. Remember to, I thank you to everybody who listens to the show. Thank you for everybody who likes and subscribes and all that good fun stuff. If you want to check out, like I was talking about, my other socials, I posted a lot of videos about what has been going on in Israel, about, both the good and the horrific. There has just been very, very horrific things obviously going on there. It's just absolutely horrible and barbaric what has been going on. But you can go onto my Facebook page, The Kate and Eric Show on Facebook. Also, there is TikTok. That's mostly where, I put all the videos everywhere, but that's kind of the start of everything. Is TikTok, Kate and Eric Show, YouTube, Kate and Eric Show, True Social, Kate and Eric Show, and X, the Kate and Eric Show. So please go like, subscribe, follow, share, do all that good stuff. Rate on any of the platforms where you do find your podcast, because then more people will see it, and the more, how the algorithms all work, it'll all get out there a lot more. So to get into today, if you're a fan of the show and you listen to the show, I always start off with sports updates. And I have thought a lot about in the last couple days whether or not to start off doing that or just jump right into the Israel attack. But maybe we'll just do a little update just to, and then we'll get into the awfulness and the ugliness. But to start off with baseball, so I will do a little bit. Texas lost the Red River rivalry against freaking Oklahoma, so that was awful. I hated it. I believe FSU won, whoever they played. I kind of have forgotten in light of what happened over the weekend. So, you think about what has happened. I've told my kids when it all happened that I told them, a couple days later, my two youngest are 14 now, and the next one, she'll be 11. I had them on a few episodes ago over the summer when they were here. If you don't, if you're like, what the heck? What do you mean they're here? So my kids live primarily with their mother and their stepdad. So there's that. So I get anyway, that's another story for a different subject. But yeah, so so if you're like, oh, that doesn't make any sense, what is he talking about? The kids aren't there. So yes, my kids are here every other weekend, and I get them for the month of July. But so I was telling my kids, because they had a long weekend because of Christopher Columbus, because of Columbus Day. He used to be a great man. They used to say how great he was. We used to sing. I believe there was a song in elementary school about the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. The three famous ships that he sailed across the ocean blue. We all know about that. And Christopher Columbus, just kind of disclaimer, I'll get into maybe future episodes, we'll get into him. But he was a great man. What the left tells you about him, he was not some genocidal maniac that wanted slavery and death and destruction upon the Indians here in the Western Hemisphere. That was not who he was. So they're lying sacks of dog crap, because they have to vilify, like I think in the first episode I mentioned that the left is always trying to vilify our heroes. They do that with the founding fathers. They're doing that with Christopher Columbus. Because the Indians that were here, they were not, the Pocahontas Disney Indians. They weren't nice. The Aztecs were very, very brutal. The Indians here in North America were very, very brutal to other Native American tribes. So the whole idea that they were these innocent little tribes, they're just living their little lives, yeah, that's not true. But anyway, so I'll get into Columbus later. But yeah, so I was telling my kids about what was. I didn't go into the details of all the horrific atrocities that have been going on to the people in Israel. I just said that there's a lot of things that have been going on because I felt like they were obviously too young. My youngest daughter, she's going to be 11 here, and I didn't want to tell because she's really a sensitive type, and I think she would get very, very upset and very worried about what was going on. So I just said, hey, there's been attacks in Israel against Hamas and the terrorists, and so just to pray for the country of Israel, and I hope that they can get those hostages back. Americans, Jews, just hopefully they can figure out how to get these people back from these barbaric animals. Oops, stupid update for computer. Sorry about that. That was loud. Anyway, so I was telling my kids about that, to pray for the country of Israel. So it's just absolutely horrible what has been going on. And I was telling them, we are very, very blessed. For those that listen here in the United States and other Western countries, we are very blessed because we don't have to worry about rockets being fired across a border and landing in our cities as we're just trying to live our lives. Especially here in the United States, we're sort of isolated from the rest of the world and the craziness that happens. We don't have Canada launching rockets, in New York or Montana or, Washington, North Dakota, Minnesota, they're not, or, we don't have any of that. Mexico isn't launching missiles here into Texas, or they're just letting all the illegals come across. That's what they're doing. And, I'll get into that too, because that's probably a huge problem as to what has been going on. But no, they're not firing rockets here into Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, or California. That is not happening. We are being invaded, though. Don't let that kind of technicality that we're not firing. They're not firing rockets, no, but we are being invaded by who know. Nobody knows who these freaking people are. Nobody knows who is coming across our border, and because of this Biden administration, there is a quote here. From a former Hamas leader. His name is Khalid Mashallah, calls for a day of jihad on Friday the 13th and tells Muslims to take to the streets and protest against Israel. And if you've seen, which I'm sure you have, if you've seen any of the videos going around any social media, any of the news, there is a huge marches, huge protests, huge rallies for there's some pro-Israel. I saw in New York, there was kind of like the battle. They were across the street from each other. And, but across the world, there have been huge numbers of people celebrating Palestine, not just, you would think like, oh, that must be just the Middle East. No, that's in New York City. That's in Dallas here. Here in Dallas, that happened in many states or many cities across the United States. I've saw them in Sydney, Australia. I've seen them in Austria. They are all over the planet celebrating or protesting for a free Palestine. And, I was telling them, we are blessed to not have any of those things happening to us here in, I don't have to worry about going outside my house and, a rocket being fired from, Fort Worth isn't attacking Dallas or anything like that. We don't have to worry about that here. And it is a great blessing. And that is the great thing about the United States is that we do not have to worry about those things. We don't have to worry about rockets being fired upon our houses like the Israelis do. And for all those, the idiots that are out there that are saying, oh, well, just, they have free Palestine, free Palestine. They're the ones that have picked to support or to have Hamas and Hezbollah and other terrorist organizations in their population. Don't have those people in your area here to commit these horrible acts. And then, if you fire missiles or you fire rockets from a school, from a hospital, from a mosque, those buildings are no longer what they were intended for. Israel's not just going to sit there and be like, oh, well, it was fired from a mosque, so we can't do it. And they'll just continue to fire missiles from mosques or hospitals or other places where they purposely put those people's lives in danger, where they're being fired from. And then you have Israel, they're not supposed to retaliate. They're not supposed to defend themselves. Benjamin Netanyahu, the president or prime minister, whatever they call him, of Israel, he said, if Hamas or if Palestine would lay down their arms, there would be peace. Because it's not Israel who is the aggressors. Israel is not the aggressors in any of these things. They have every right to defend themselves, as you would anywhere where you live. Here in the United States, if we were attacked by whoever, you have the right to defend yourself. If someone breaks into my house, I have the right to defend myself against whoever that is. So the audacity that these people have to say that, oh, well, Israel there needs to be a cease. There's Congresswomen, the squad that they're formerly known as the Squad. They're now called the Hamas Caucus, and rightfully so. You have Alexandria Cortez. You've got, what the heck is her name? I can never remember how to say their name. Let's see. It is, let's see, the 4 congressmen who normally has the Squad is talking about the racist tweets there. You have Ilham Omar of Minnesota, Alexandria Cortez of New York, Rashid Tlaib of Michigan, and Anaya Presley of Massachusetts. They're the original Squad members who are so far left. They're so radical that, and I have several tweets from Ilham Omar. She's the one that said about 9/11 that some people did something a few years ago. She's like, oh yeah, 9/11, that was just the day that some people did something. Oh, okay, so 3,000 dead Americans, that's just some people did something that day? You scumbag. Oh, fired up if you can't tell. Because this is just, it's absolutely just insanity that, you have members of our U.S. Congress who are out there saying, oh, we just need a ceasefire. We just, there needs to be a de-escalation. In fact, there's let me pull up, there was a little, where is it? Sorry, I have so many, there's just so many videos, so much audio to get into here. Let me find that. Hang on just a minute. Okay, so this is a Democratic senator. You have Elizabeth Warren in the background here too, where he's talking about de-escalation into, for the response for Israel, for them not to basically respond. So here's his stupidity. Just a second.
Escalation of the current violence. De-escalation of the current violence. The United States should. De-escalation.
So they don't want Israel to respond to the horrific, barbaric, cowardly attacks. They just, they don't want them to respond because, I don't know, why would you not, it just doesn't make any sense. So I'm glad people booed. I am so glad people booed because that's what these scumbags, that's what these liberal idiots deserve. And there's just so much more, and so much to all this. You've got this is what President Biden had to say about Rashid Tlaib. Oh, hold on. Well, it'd be helpful if there's video if I press that on just a second.
I want to say to you that I admire your intellect, I admire your passion, and I admire your concern for so many other people. And it's from my heart, I pray that your grandmom and family are well. I promise you I'm going to do everything to see that they are. Thank you. You're a fighter, and God, thank you for being a fighter.
Oh yeah, let's sit there. Let's clap for the woman who has the Palestinian flag outside of her congressional office, and then the LGBTQI574+78 flag as well. Oh, the stupidity of these people. It's just like, if you were to fly that flag over in Palestine, yeah, you wouldn't be able to fly that flag there, darling. They don't tolerate, you talk about you wanting toleration here in America about that stuff. Yeah, they don't tolerate that crap over there, which is quite ironic. But here, a Fox News reporter, tried to get a statement from her, because she's the one that was like, she was sitting there crying about how at the border we separate families and all this nonsense. Just to separate the families at the border. If you break the laws, yes, you're going to be separated. It doesn't matter if you come across illegally, you will be separated. It happens here in America too. If you're a citizen, if you break the law, you will be separated from your family. It's just a little fun story. Well, not so fun, but a few years ago, I had received a bunch of tickets for outdated tags. The tags, tags that you put on your registration tags. There we go. So I had a few tickets from those, and some of them I had completely forgotten about because it was when I was getting divorced, and it was in 2016, 2017, something like that. In 2018, I got some tickets, and they slipped my mind. I was more focused on what was going on in my divorce. I had just met my wife now, and it was just so you forget some of those stupid things. So anyway, I had dropped my kids off one day, and I had gotten pulled over because apparently there was the reason I gotten pulled over was there was a call into 911 or into the police that something was, I forget what the cop said, but there was some mischief or something going on in the neighborhood of where my kids live. And apparently the car that I was driving at the time matched that description, so he pulled me over. He ran my stuff, and here in Texas, they don't mess around with that stuff. So I had, there was a whole bunch of failure to appear, so there was actually warrants out for my arrest for not paying the stupid registration tickets. And you're like, why don't you just do it? Come on, going through divorce, if you've been through divorce, or anything similar to that, you understand that kind of you're not really you're just trying to survive from kind of day to day and trying to pick your life back up together, from it was normal, the normal life that you had before, and then all of a sudden you're jackknifed into this other thing. But anyway, so I sit there, I got pulled over, and I thought, oh, okay, I've got some tickets. He came back, he's like, we step out of the car. Sir, will you step out of the car? I'm like, for what? What's going on? Just step out of the car. And so, he had another officer with him, and I'm like, okay, what the crap is going on? And it was Mother's Day, by the way. It was Mother's Day weekend. I forget why I had the kids, because Mother's Day, Father's Day I have the kids on Father's Day. I was in my kids go to their moms on Mother's Day. So I then got arrested and spent Mother's Day weekend in jail. My wife was very upset because we had just been married for a couple of years, And she was very upset. She was like, I didn't think I was going to get you out of there. And I was thinking kind of the same thing. But we saved a whole bunch of money. We saved thousands of dollars, and I spent a couple nights in jail. But so I was separated because I did not follow the law. I broke the law. I was separated from my wife, and I tried to tell the officer, my wife, this is Mother's Day. This is a really hard time for her because her mother passed away before I met my wife. Unfortunately, so I did not get to meet her. So that's I've explained this in other episodes, but that's why I have FSU and cheer for FSU, because that's where my mother-in-law went. Anyway, so I was trying to tell the officers that hey, I'm trying to get home. I'm sorry, I'll get the tickets paid. And nope, he didn't budge. I was arrested and spent 2 days in jail because of it was in different cities here in the Metroplex. So I was separated from my family and from my wife and kids because I did not follow the law. And that's what happens when you do not follow the law. You are separated from your families and from your loved ones. And so she, Rashid, she cried and was like, oh, the illegals, they're just separated from their families, and it's just sad. But a Fox reporter, long story short, roundabout, now here we go, is that they tracked her down in Congress. They tracked her down on the Capitol, and they wanted a response from her because, she had been so adamant about the children and the families being separated at the border, which any of the videos that you watch here recently, or probably over the last 5 years, I do not see a mother and a father and, this, 3 little kids and a grandma and a grandpa's, and, they're not the ones that are coming across our border. It is a bunch of military age, 18 to probably 30 years of age, men pouring across our border. You might see, women here every once in a while, but it is men pouring across our border right now. So be vigilant in any city that you are in. Be vigilant. Know what is going on around you. So this is what this is, if you think she had something brilliant to say, or that she was upset about what's happening in Israel because she's a pro-Palestinian supporter, I guess she's from Palestine or something like that. But, well, I'll just have you listen. So the reporter and the cameraman does a great job, by the way. Sorry to pause it, but he does a great job because they're like speed walking through the underground area of the Capitol here, is where I assume this is. So they are just booking it because it's her and like 2 members of probably her staff. There's this big guy, and then there's this other lady that's with them. And they are speed walking, trying to get away from it. So I do have to say that if I have posted this video on my social media, so if you go to it, any of them, TikTok or mostly, or any of them, this video is on there. And if you just search up Rashid Tlaib refuses to condemn Hamas, it'll pop up. But anyway, so they are speed walking through here because she doesn't want to answer the questions. Nothing. Silence. Speed walking away.
Do you condone what Hamas has done, chopping off babies' heads, burning children alive, raping women in the street?
Nothing. So they're at an elevator.
Have a Palestinian flag outside your office if you do not condone what Hamas terrorists have done to Israel. Do Israeli lives not matter to you?
Great job by the Fox News reporter. Amazing job to try to pin her down, and her stupid. Trying to keep it PG. I'm trying to keep it PG here. But her stupid dumbass is running away. When they get to a members only elevator, so apparently only members of Congress can go up in that elevator, and their staff, I guess. And so they get to this elevator, and she is just her back is turned to the reporter and the cameraman, and she's just like sitting there cowering, hiding away in the corner of the little wall there. And then as soon as she gets in the elevator, you get into an elevator and you have the doors and you have a little space on either side to where you press a button. So she just then hides away in the corner there right as she gets in and doesn't say a freaking word, not a freaking word about what has happened. She doesn't condemn it. She obviously, with her stupid flag, she supports this crap. And she's not the only one. She's not the only one out there. You've got, there's some tweets from Aleem Omar on her personal that are just absolutely despicable. Let me get those. There's a few of them on here. And the worst thing, the thing that is just super frustrating is the Biden administration has given millions of dollars to, I believe it's either Hamas or Palestine themselves, to try to bring them to the table to try to draw some peace. They've given them millions of dollars. Not to mention, because Hamas has said that they are backed by Iran. What has just happened here the last month? A month ago yesterday on 9/11, that the scumbag administration did a deal with Iran to release the hostages. They released $6 billion. And the administration will be like, well, that's not American money. That's not money from America. That's not taxpayer. That's their money. The president of Iran or whatever he's like, he was asked, and I believe, I hope I have that video. Let me see. Oh, I thought I had it, but I guess I do not. But anyway, he's asked reporter, I forget which, I want to say ABC. The guy that does the interview is ABC. He sits there and he has an interview with this scumbag, and he asked him, is that $6 billion, is that going to go to humanitarian, if I can say that word, humanitarian aid? That's all that's all they say. That, and the Iranian president is like, it's going to go to whatever we deem it worthy to. It's going to go to whatever we need it to. So why don't they then refreeze that freaking money and stop giving it back to Iran? But this administration is horrendous. It is horrible. The world is absolutely insane. The world is insane. So this is what Aleem Omar, because she's like from Somalia, and not that that's neither here nor there, but she's kind of where she's from. Let's see, I'm trying to find the good one here on her Twitter. Okay, here we go. Here's one from a couple days ago. As the world is condemning Hamas's attacks, we must also oppose an Israeli military response that has already taken the lives of hundreds of Palestinians, including nearly 24 children. Oh, okay. So Hamas can go in, parachute in, like Call of Duty style, start murdering people at a music festival who aren't, they're not military people. It was a bunch of civilians at a festival just celebrating a day of Thanksgiving. It was a holiday for Israel. I looked it up. I forget what it's called, but basically like a day of Thanksgiving, sort of like, I don't think it's equivalent to American Thanksgiving, but it's a day of Thanksgiving. They parachute into this place. They start just shooting people down, kidnapping them. We find out later that they not only kidnapped them, but then they raped these women and just killed them afterwards, left their bodies aside. They've killed children. There's stories that they have burned. There's a story out there that they have burned old women in their houses because they were too infirm to get out of the house. So they decided, screw it, we're just going to burn you. It's just, and then you've got pro-Palestinian rallies across the world that are celebrating this stuff. And it just reminds me, I made a video of this and posted on my socials, but I never thought I'd ever see the day where there would be a pro-terrorist rally in New York City. I never, ever, ever thought that would ever happen. Because I'm old enough to remember 9/11. I was 18 years old when 9/11 happened, and I've never would have ever thought back then, 10 years ago, today, I never ever would have thought that there would be a pro-terrorist rally in New York City. I am just completely baffled about what happened in New York City, that there were Palestinians waving flags. The Palestinian flag was being waved by several hundred people in New York City. It's just, what have we become as a nation? What are we doing? And I blame the Biden administration partially for what has happened, because they funded it. And the sad thing is, Israel, they're more than capable of defending themselves, but just what happened to, because they have to be very, very good at intelligence. They have to be very, very good. The Israeli Defense Force, the IDF, they are very good, because they have to be, because the entire area around them wants them all dead. And so they have to be very vigilant. They have to be very good at what they do as far as intelligence gathering and everything, because they have to thwart this kind of stuff. But just what happened? What happened to their intelligence over the weekend? So I want to play some things here about, let me play this clip here from one of these Hamas head of international relations. Oh, what a stupid name is that? So he's being interviewed. I don't know what news organization this is, but he's this guy here. He's being the Hamas head of international relations. Is being interviewed by a reporter, and this is what this dirtbag has to say.
That civilians have not died.
We didn't kill any civilian. It depends.
What about the 260 bodies? What about the 260 bodies at the music festival? Do you realise how absurd that sounds?
Now, within the operation, I cannot confirm this Israeli propaganda, because we have also news and videos showing that Israel and what Israel is today doing inside Gaza, based on the so-called Hannibal doctrine to kill thousands of Palestinians, including the hostages, and this is adopted doctrine by the Israeli army.
Hang on, Israel is just sorry to interrupt you, but Israel says more than 700 civilians have been killed. They have been appearing at hospitals, in morgues. The Israeli military have released pictures of some of the 260 bodies at a music festival. Are you really expecting us to believe that you have not killed civilians?
No, we don't have killed any civilians. But what I have to say, I have to tell you as a well-respected journalist, we have also to redefine what does it mean a civilian. I cannot consider a settler in the occupied West Bank who is stolen my hand, carrying guns, burning the city of Hawara is a civilian. We cannot continue anyone who is sitting around the borders, working on cyber and artificial intelligence to control and besiege 2.3 million on the biggest open prison as a civilian. I think.
Well, listen, we hold Israel to account. Just sorry to bother you. Sorry to interrupt. Yes. I'm sorry to interrupt, but we hold Israeli officials to account when civilians die. It is Hamas we're talking about now, and you have launched an operation that was deliberately designed to murder civilians.
No.
No. Oh my gosh, the balls of this guy to sit there and say like, no, we have not attacked civilians. No, anybody. So basically what he said, it doesn't matter if you have a gun, it doesn't matter if you're part of the IDF. If you're an Israeli, you are not a civilian. You are the problem and you need to go. Because that is what the problem is. The Palestinians and others around them, others around Israel, want them all gone. I don't think so much the Egyptians, because during the 6-Day War in the 60s, Israel kicked the crap out of the whole Arab area. I mean, it's pretty amazing that they kicked the crap. And you kind of sit there and think like, me being a religious person, a Christian who fully supports Israel because the Jews are God's people. In the Bible, if you read the Bible, they are his people. That is their land. I've been having lovely discussions because I post videos and you've got morons that'll sit there and say, oh, that's not Israel. Apparently their history only goes back to like the 1940s or 30s or something like that, because that's what they claim, is that's all of it, that's Palestinian land, and the Israelis are nothing more than just apartheid, kind of what they did in South Africa. But no, that's not what had happened. And so I'm doing a little research. I was trying to figure out, because it's been a while since I've been out of school and I've kind of forgotten some things. So I did some research on that land. And, Israel, the Jews, or the nation of Israel, the Hebrews, they left Egypt thousands of years ago. They left Egypt. God told them that this is their land. So they took over the land because God said that was theirs. And it has been theirs for thousands of years as they have been conquered by, the Byzantines or the Assyrians or the Babylonians. Romans, during the time of Christ, they were conquered by the Romans. Then there was the kingdom of Israel during the Crusades, where the Jews lived, and there was Christians and Muslims there, too, obviously, with the Crusades. And then I was, because I was sitting there trying to think, like, okay, because I did the research, and I'm like, okay, you had the Crusades, you have the Jews living there during the time of Christ, and then the Romans were there, and then I was like, okay, what happened? Then, you get to the Crusades, which is, 1,100, 1,200 years after Christ, AD. And so then I was like, okay, what happened between the years of, like the 1900 and then, to the Crusades backwards. And so I did some research, and I had forgotten that whole area was taken over by the Ottoman Empire, and it was the Ottoman Empire for like 400 years. But the Jews were still living there. But it was under Ottoman control during that 400 years, from about like 1500 to 1914, when at the end of World War I, when the Ottoman Empire finally fell apart. And then the British had control of that area, and they were trying to work out a deal with the Palestinians and the Jews, because Jews were flooding into that area by, there was different waves that they were coming in, and they were coming, for, a period of 60 years, 60, 70, maybe 80 years. They were pouring in, there was tens of thousands coming in, and then it kept getting bigger and bigger. So then after World War I, after the Ottoman Empire fell, they were trying to work out the deals, and the Israelis, or the Jews, were buying the land. They were, they didn't steal the land like these Palestinians say. And so they bought the land. They gathered together, and then in 1948 they declared themselves a nation. And if you just read up a little bit, the Palestinians didn't like that they called them, so they attacked Israel. They have always been the aggressors, these Palestinians. And now, you've got Hamas and everything. They have always been the aggressors. Israel just wants to live. They just want to be free. They just want to be left the crap alone. But they have every freaking right to defend themselves against acts of terrorism. And this is what has happened again. Ever since they have been declared a country by the UN, they have been under attack constantly. Me and my wife were talking about it after what had happened. And we're sitting there, we're talking about the different, in the 90s, I remember Yasser Arafat. We were sitting there trying to remember that doofus's name. Like, what was it? We were like, we can't, we didn't bother looking it up for, I don't know why. But we were trying to remember that guy's name, and, they have been under attack for 80 years. 80 years, 18, they have been under attack for 80 years, just about. And it is just horrific. He said, Benjamin Netanyahu, I don't know, I can't remember if I said this because that was a while ago, but he said if the Palestinians and, the terrorists themselves, if they would lay down their weapons, there would be peace. If Israel were to lay down their weapons, there would be no Israel. And I fully believe that. I fully believe that there would not be an Israel if they laid down their arms. The Palestinians, the terrorists, the Arab nations around them that do not like them, that hate their freaking guts, would come in and push them into the Mediterranean and wipe them out. But that's not going to happen because Israel, because that's just, they're God's people. They have been his people for thousands of years, and he will protect them. And hopefully with our support, they, because we give them a few $1 billion every year to help with their support, which I'm fine with that. I don't want to, I don't want this to turn into like a Ukraine thing where we're sending hundreds of billions of dollars, because that's something that the Democrats want to continue to happen, is their continue just endless bottomless pit of money poured into this Ukraine mess. But yeah, just please, we need to pray for the nation of Israel. I have so many other videos. I have a fun thing from Joan Rivers. I do want to play that though, because it's quite comedic. So just a second.
Reaction to what's going on with the Palestinians and Israelis right now.
Let me just tell you, New Jersey.
So sorry, this, everybody knows she's passed away, so this is not new. This is from 2014.
Were firing rockets into New York. We would wipe them out. I am so bored. We heard they were digging tunnels from New Jersey to New York. We would get rid of Jersey. So I want to tell people, we'll do a partial truce. The Palestinians, you cannot throw rockets and expect people not to defend themselves.
What about the civilian casualty rate?
Civilian, then don't put your goddamn things in private homes.
Yep.
I'm sorry. Don't you dare put weapon stashes in private homes, and then we say get out. Of course, we're gonna do it.
The response normally is where are the civilians supposed to go?
I don't care. They started it. You're all insane. They started it. What are you all saying? They started it. The Israelis did not throw their for months. This has been going on. What are you supposed to do?
How do you
How do
resolve
I
it?
know? Because I have been over there. That's how I know. And I wish the world would know. And BBC should be ashamed of themselves. And CNN should be ashamed of themselves. And everybody, stop it already.
Dwight Howard tweeted Free Palestine to you back. Selena Gomez tweeted from Gaza.
Oh, Selena Gomez. Oh, yeah, that college grad.
All right, thank you, John. Thank you
Let's see if she can spell Palestinian.
Oh. Oh, that's great. Because she's also said that Michelle Obama is a trans. I'll have to play that a different day because I don't have it. I don't have it anywhere so I can pull it up. But yeah, she's also said because they asked. I think it was probably TMZ. They asked her, "So what do you think if there's a gay president?" She's like, "Oh, we already had that with Obama." That Michelle is a trans. Oh. Oh, just great. That she's great. She is missed. But yep, that's the insanity. But you know, there's clips of Biden. He's talking about, hey, yeah, we talked about, you know, I've talked. Ooh, wait, hold on, I gotta get my Biden voice here. I talked with Benjamin Netanyahu, Benjamin Franklin, maybe. Yeah, I talked with Benjamin Franklin, and he gave him my support to discover electricity. So here's I'll just play a little bit of what there's a few clips here and what he had to say.
Bloodthirstiness brings to mind the worst rampages of ISIS. This is terrorism. But sadly, for the Jewish people, it's not new. This attack has brought to the surface painful memories, the scars left by a millennia of anti-Semitism and genocide of the Jewish people.
By your party.
We must be crystal clear. We stand with Israel. We stand with Israel. We will make sure Israel has what it needs to take care of its citizens, defend itself, and respond to this attack.
Good. I bet Benjamin Netanyahu is so excited that Biden is there and they're working on it. Because I didn't mention this before, but sorry, what the crap is going on? Stop with this computer. I apologize for that. I don't know why it just keeps making that dumb noise. But yeah, there are Americans that have died. There are Americans that have been taken hostage. And this is what he had to say about that.
Make it real clear, we're working on every aspect of the hostage crisis in Israel, including deploying experts to advise and assist with recovery efforts. Now, the press is going to shout to me, and many of you are, that, you know, what are you doing to get these folks home? If I told you, I wouldn't be able to get them home. Folks, there's a lot we're doing. A lot we're doing. I have not given up hope of bringing these folks home.
Oh, okay. So he's on it, man. Biden is on it like blue bonnet. He's on it. He's gonna. He can't tell us what he's doing because then he wouldn't be able to do it. But yeah, he's right on it there, bro. I don't really have a lot of faith that he will do anything to get these people home because we know what happens. Look at Afghanistan. He left Americans there to the Taliban, or he calls them the Taliban. He left them there. He left our allies there in Afghanistan. Just peace out, man. We're gone. See you later. So I don't have any faith that he can do anything. I don't have any faith that this administration can do a damn thing to get our citizens home. I don't think so. I really don't. And here's an update from what's this guy's name? John Kirby. He's the National Secretary Council spokesman. So here's what he had to say.
The number of Americans that we know have been killed to 27, and the number of unaccounted for stands today at 14. We're obviously doing everything we can to support and inform the families. Now, sadly, 5 more families have now gotten the worst possible news that any family can conceive of getting. And we're going to stay in touch with them as appropriate. Same goes for those family members of those who are unaccounted for. And by unaccounted for, we mean that. We don't know where they are. They don't know where they are. So we're going to obviously stay in touch with them as well. And certainly work with Israeli officials to make sure that we're getting as much context and information as possible.
Wait a minute. So they don't know where they are, but you're going to keep in contact with them? If you don't know where they are, they don't know where they are. How are you going to keep in contact with them? But for the dead American, I put partial blame on the Biden administration for this absolutely horrificness. I don't know, is that a word, horrificness? That just sounded good at the time. But yeah, I put partial blame on, not 100% because they're not the ones pulling the trigger or parachuting in, but partial the blame needs to go square on Joe Biden. Because not only he gave millions of dollars to the Palestinians and then here, on 9/11 they unfroze the $6 billion to Iran. And then there are other reports where, get this, speaking of Afghanistan, like I mentioned earlier, some of those weapons left behind ended up in the fight against Israel over the weekend. So yes. And then there's other reports where the weapons and other things that we've sent to Ukraine, yeah, they've also ended up over there and fighting Israel as well. So yeah, I put a big part of the blame on this freaking demented old man and his administration, because it is despicable what has happened over in Israel. It is absolutely despicable. And you have American congressmen who are sitting there having that stupid Palestinian flag, who are praising this, who are saying Israel has no right to defend themselves. And then you have pro-Palestinian marches in our own cities. So Joe Biden, if anybody in the administrations listens to this episode, you are also to blame for what has happened. You are also to blame for what has happened to these innocent people. That these women have been raped, that these children have been killed. There is videos that they have been beheaded. It is just absolutely horrendous, and you are partially to blame for this crap. Sorry, I had a picture frame fell down. But yes, they are partially to blame for what has happened over there. And it's despicable. It's just absolutely despicable, the horrific acts of barbarianism and cowardice. I mean, if these guys are so tough, if these guys are so badass, then why don't they gather together as an army and go fight the IDF, or come over here and fight us? Try to square up against the United States military, square up against the IDF, and then see how big and badass and tough you are, you piece of crap. So yes, please, we need to pray for Israel. We need to pray that these people hopefully will be found. We need to pray that they will be. And I say that I have to be optimistic, because I have to promote optimism in this. Even though I may not 100% really think they'll be okay, I have to say it. I have to say that these people, that through the grace of God, that they will be rescued, that they will be okay. Because it is only through him that these people will come out of this. Because Joe Biden and this incompetent administration, they're not capable of doing it. Now, I'm not saying the military isn't capable, but just the administration and everybody who's in charge, well, whoever's in charge is certainly not him. Because I played a clip last week. He's like, talking about the Speaker of the House. He's like, oh, that's above my pay grade. But yeah, God is the only one that can get these people out of there, because no one else can. No one else is going to do it. And then you've got one more thing here I'll mention. Maybe something funny at the end here. But BLM, you know, the great organization, that great organization that terrorized American cities across the country here for, what was it, 6 or 7 months, that have done nothing to better the black community, have done nothing to do that, except that, you know, what they have done, they've made themselves rich with the millions of dollars that these suckers gave to them. But BLM of Chicago tweeted out a picture on the 10th, so a couple days ago, that says, "I stand with Palestine." They have a Palestinian flag, and it is somebody parachuting. The silhouette is of somebody parachuting in with the Palestinian flags on their parachute. And it says, "I stand with Palestine." And it says, that is all, that is it. These people are scumbags. These people are words that I'm trying not to say because I want this to be PG. They are just pieces of scum. That's who these people are. And we need to stand up to do what's right. And just pray for the country. Pray. I think there are, I truly believe that there are good things and good people still in this country. And that I believe it is a small minority that is really loud. You know, you might think that they're the majority, but I just think they're really loud, and they don't have character, they don't have integrity, they are just evil. But anyway, so that's just horrificness. Oh, yes. So let's go to the one fun little thing, and then maybe I'll do sports here at the end. Because there are some fun things that happen in the world of sports. But if you're a baseball fan and a Niners fan. But John Fetterman, the great senator, the wise Socrates senator from Pennsylvania, he went on Stephen Colbert, I believe is what it was. And of course, he's in his stupid hoodie and gym shorts. Yes, as U.S. Senator, the great Socrates, John Fetterman. Here's just a funny thing that I would like to share here towards the end. But this is what he had to say about who is being sent to Washington, D.C.
Well, you need to know that America is not sending their best and brightest, to Washington, D.C. Yes. Sometimes you literally just can't believe, these people are making the decisions that are, determining the government here. It's actually scary.
This guy, the guy that kept saying, 95, 95, 95. That's the guy that says we're not sending our best and brightest. The guy that can't wear a freaking suit under the Senate. The guy that Chuck Schumer, I've heard they reversed it, but they said that you can wear whatever you want as a senator because he can't wear a suit, that he wears a hoodie and gym shorts. That's the guy that's going to say we're not sending our best and brightest to Washington, D.C. Oh, talk about calling the kettle black. I mean, oh my gosh. Well, there you go. That's the world we live in, ladies and gentlemen. So let's just do a quick little sports update here at the end. I just wanted to didn't really feel like that was appropriate to do at the beginning. But the Houston Astros are going to be playing the Texas Rangers in the American League Championship Series. So it'll be an all-Texas ALCS, which is great. The Astros finished off Minnesota last night. The Rangers swept Baltimore, the Orioles, which I was quite surprised, actually. I thought that would be a little bit closer. But no, so it'll be an all-Texas ALCS. So somebody from Texas will be representing in the World Series, and you know who I want to be in there, the Houston Astros, baby. Also, Arizona swept the Dodgers 3-0. So they are in the National League Championship Series, and Philly is leading the Braves 2-1. in their National League Division Series. So it'll be interesting. I don't know. The Braves have got a great pitcher on the mound tonight, but I don't know. Philly's got a lot of momentum coming in. I was quite surprised by Arizona, to be honest. But I'm kind of thinking if the Braves pitching, if Strider can't get the Phillies hitters down, I think the Phillies are moving on and facing Arizona. And wouldn't that be fun to have an Astros-Phillies reunion and the same results? But I've heard there were a chance of We Want Houston in Arlington, so that's the Yankees wanted, the Phillies wanted it, the Twins wanted it, and guess what happened? They all got bounced out of the playoffs. So let's go, bring on the Rangers. We took care of them, I believe 9-3 during the regular season. So let's go Stros. And football news, the Niners absolutely crushed the Cowboys 42-10. I thought that was be a bit more close, or a lot closer than it was, but apparently not. Apparently it was not. So you've got the standings here. Miami, New England is absolutely horrible. They're 1-4, which is kind of surprising. So you got Miami ahead of that division. AFC South is just not very good. So the Phillies and Niners are the only ones that are perfect still. Phillies are 5-0. Of course, the Niners are 5-0, baby. So I believe in a couple weeks here we'll have the Niners and Phillies together again. Or not the Phillies, the Eagles. See, baseball. So that'll be great. That'll be fun to watch that. Get some freaking revenge from last year's NFC Championship game. And then the Stars, I believe, start tonight. I believe the NHL has started. So I believe the Dallas Stars start tonight. So, yeah, then like I mentioned earlier, freaking Texas lost. The stupid OU. It made me so mad. So let's start off the top 10 here in college football. You've got Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State. FSU is number 4. So let's go Noles. And then you go Oklahoma. Penn State, Washington, Oregon, and Texas still remain in the top 10, and USC to kind of level that out for the top 10 in college football. So it'll be fun. I don't really know like the big games this weekend. I think there's regular conference games. I know BYU plays TCU here in Fort Worth this coming weekend. So hopefully that'll be great. And then, hold on. Wait, what is today? Oh, never mind. That was something else. So, yeah, you got BYU play TCU. The Niners play the Browns. No, that's going to be a dub. Yeah, so not really like the big games here. Coming up this weekend, you got Ohio State, Purdue. Oregon and Washington. Oh, there you go. There's an 8 and a 7 going against each other. And USC Notre Dame, that should be pretty good. So that's the kind of the top. That's the sports update. I did it at the end because I wanted to make sure to get all the Israel stuff, the horrificness out of that. But sorry, this episode's been a little long, but I hope you have enjoyed it. And like I said, if you have any questions, you want to comment or concerns, you can get to any of my socials. You've got the great Facebook, the Cade and Eric Show page on Facebook, X, TikTok, YouTube, True Social, Cade and Eric Show at any of those. So please like, subscribe, follow, and share. Pass this on to your family members, your friends, your enemies. Tell them to listen. And please rate on any of the podcasts platforms. And 5 stars, please. We only accept 5 stars here at the Cade and Eric Show. And hopefully you have a great week, and pray for Israel. Pray for those people that have been kidnapped, because God is the only way that they're going to get out of this. So have a great week. And it's finally nice here in Dallas. It's like 40 degrees colder. It's like, oh, we got to break out time to break out the sweaters. I'm actually wearing pants. That's kind of funny because I just wear shorts, but so anyway, Hopefully, have a great week, and I will talk with you next time. Bye bye.